What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the shop. Today we've got a fun new project, new old project. I had 3 full video clips of this, me digging it out of the weeds and dragging it in the shop, and I put it on my external hard drive where I keep all my videos. Something happened to the hard drive and I lost everything. I was able to extract a couple videos over the course of 4 or 5 days, and they're so jumbled up and just missing data that you can't even watch them. So unfortunately we lost all that footage, but I'm gonna jump y'all in where I'm currently at, explain a little bit of the backstory that was in the other videos, and we're just gonna go from there and see where it takes us. So hopefully this video and how I clip all these together, because I do have some older videos already, it's a mess, but I'm gonna try to do my best and we'll move forward and we'll go from there. So here's what we're working on. This is a 1966 Mustang, factory V8, 289 car, factory power steering. Was actually my mom's first car in high school back in the 70s. My grandpa bought it, not new, he was a second owner, I guess. She drove it for many years. It sat in the barn for, I don't know, 5 or so years maybe. I don't have all the details on that. And then early 90s, around the time I was born, he had it restored. The time my mom had me, she got married and I guess kind of gave it back to my grandpa. He had it restored, drove it around, kept up with it. Mid 2000s, I guess, he ended up breaking his back and the car kind of sat. When I started driving, I had a lot of interest in it and interest in cars, so I started playing with it. I got it running, driving. I actually drove it to high school for several years. It was pretty much my first car. And it's still in the family. I blew the engine up way back when, and young and dumb high school kid, like, oh, we're gonna pull the engine out and we're gonna do all this crazy stuff, right? Like, we're gonna build a full build, a tube chassis, like, I'm just gonna go crazy with it, because I thought I could. At the time I had my own hot rod shop, like, oh, this is not a problem. And then reality set in, not enough money, not enough time, working on customer cars. Got pushed at the back corner of my old shop, and then eventually pushed outside, and then I had to move here, and well, it's been sitting 14 years, and it's been sitting out behind this current shop in the weeds for 6 or 7 maybe. It's by no means perfect. The paint was already pretty rough and it was starting to come off in some areas, but we've got some interesting patina now. I'm probably just gonna, my goal, I'm not gonna make this nice. It's not a full restoration. I want a driver. I want to enjoy the car. I want to do some autocross stuff with it. So I'm just gonna put it back together. Fresh engine, fresh suspension, do some modifications here and there, and just enjoy it, really. Probably sand it down and do some clear coat, take all the badges and all the molding off. All the glass is in really good shape. I mean, we've got some, we're close. Another 5 years and we probably would have solid rust through here, but we're at a point that we can save it, I think. The underside is really pretty clean. This rear end is actually junk, come out of a different car that I sold my rear end for. I kind of started parting this thing out of all the stock components because, again, I was gonna go crazy with it and build it up. And as you can tell, and I'm sure a lot of y'all are sitting on your couch within feet of your garage or your backyard with your own project car that you had the best of intentions and life gets in the way. That's just how it goes. So we're gonna put it back together. The interior's honestly not bad for sitting out in the sun with 0 window tint. Doors still open and close good. The carpet's pretty well baked. I did sell the front seats a long time ago. The dash is decent. Top's a little weathered. Headliner was already falling down. Here's my redneck stitching back in high school. So my plan is I'm gonna strip the interior, probably put sound deadener and carpet back in it, and a headliner. Set up better seats that will kind of hold you in there. I don't know at what point the AC was added, but it did blow ice cold, so we're gonna try to get that going back again. You can see there's 3 pedals. Was originally a 2-pedal car. That's boring. I blew up the little C4 shortly after I got it, and then I swapped in a T5 out of a Fox body. So we're definitely going back with that. I've got a lightly well-used 5.0 out of a Fox body. I did get a little bit of a video clip here of me tearing into this thing a little bit, so we can jump to that right now. I do have the 302 up here on the stand. I want to check it out. I want to make sure it spins over, make sure everything's decent looking. We're not going to go too crazy here. I do have to change the oil pan, the motor mounts, the intake, and the distributor, because this distributor is made for a factory like Fox body ECU, so we're not going to use any of that. We'll pull the plugs out of it. We're going to pull the intake and the distributor off. These valve covers were off of this Mustang from the old engine. I just put them on here to kind of keep it covered. Like the idiot that I am, I did not cover this intake. It's been kept indoors for the last 5 or 6 years, but who knows what we're going to find. I want to get it rolled over. We'll see what it looks like. We're also missing the dipstick. I want to try to use this serpentine accessory drive if I can figure out the AC compressor portion. But also I have to change the water pump to the passenger outlet, because that's where my radiator is. And I'm not sure if you can do that with all of this Fox body 5.0 serpentine, so we're gonna have to figure that out. But that's probably gonna be another day. For now, we're just gonna get partially tore down, see what we're working with, make sure it spins over, and we will go from there. Gear looks good. I don't see a lot of rust. Can't get the intake out because we got to get that bolt out. This is such a difficult hose to find, but I'm not going to take any chances and put it back either. All right, how are we looking? Oh, we got a little bit of junk down in there. Nothing too crazy. I am curious, how the heck do we have a leaf underneath the intake? It's been in there so long, it's literally oil covered. That's probably not ideal. Alright, I'm gonna fire up the air compressor real quick. We're gonna blow this out before we try to spin it over. Plugs don't look too bad. A little black, but it will be okay. All right, let's see if she'll spin over. Had a little crunchy spot there at the beginning. Feels pretty good though. I'm just watching, making sure all the valves move. We don't have a flat spot on a cam. Now I think we'll roll it over and make sure there's no oil in here. There's gonna be a little bit. I think I'll just pull the oil pan from here and drop it down. That way we don't make a mess when we dump it over. Size of that look like about 10 millimeters. All right, we're gonna zip out all the oil pan bolts. All right, they're not 10 millimeter, they're 3/8. The ones on the ends are bigger. Pretty well empty, a little bit in the sumps. All right, spin her over. See what it looks like. I realized there was water in it. What a freaking mess. Bag. Here's what it is. All right, cylinders look pretty good. Cam looks pretty good. I don't see anything weird. Nothing that looks weird or out of place. We've got a Ford crank. These look like factory pistons. The cam is supposedly like not stock, but I don't know that for sure. That's just what the guy I bought it from told me. You know how that goes. Thrust bearing looks good. I don't see anything that's like got hot marks or any of that. I think we're in business. I gotta get an oil pan gasket. Gotta put the 66 pan on here. And I gotta buy an intake. I'm missing a motor mount bolt. It's not too big a deal. And then I need to do some research and see what it's gonna take to fit these. If I can run this accessory drive or if I gotta do something different there. Yeah, you can see the cylinders, they look real nice and clean. Honestly, it's not too bad. I mean, good enough for what I'm trying to do, just build a driver that, I mean, if I can get a year or so out of this or just make it work, I'll worry about the rest of it later. It's definitely burning a little bit of oil. There's some, it might smoke a little bit, but I'll run it till it don't run no more. The bare minimum amount of money in it. And we'll go from there. All right, now we're back in present day. We got some new parts. We got to change out the oil pan from the front, from the rear sump. I guess you'd call it rear sump because Fox Body's got the pickup at the rear. But I don't know if they're like twin sump because you have literally like a sump and a half. The deep one's the rear, the front one is the shallow one, but they both have drain plugs. That oil just doesn't really go anywhere, I guess. Pulled the original Fox Body EFI intake off. I've got a real nice used Holley Street Dominator, old school. Should bolt up nice. I've got a new oil pan. Still got to buy headers, but I've got most of the parts to kind of put this back together. Fresh gaskets, flywheel, clutch. I am gonna have to figure out the front end accessories here because the output of this reverse rotation water pump is on the opposite side of the factory water pump with the radiator. I've got an aftermarket radiator that I picked up off Marketplace. So I don't know, this weekend's goal is just, I'm gonna get that engine kind of dressed out. I'm not really gonna clean it up or paint it or go crazy. Again, I want a driver that I'm not ultimately like worried about with the fancy high dollar paint job. And these Mustangs are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. Everybody's got one. They're not worth crazy amount of money. This one's worthless for me to anybody because it's sentimental value. Like, I'll keep it forever. But parts are easily obtainable. They're relatively cheap. And I just I'm gonna cut this thing up and make it something cool. I don't really know how far we're gonna go. I've got a bunch of stock, slightly performance upgraded front suspension coming. For the rear, I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do. I do have a 9-inch, and we will jump to that video of discussing that right now. All right, we're gonna pop these tires off real quick. Let's do some measuring. See, really sketchy old school spacers. 4 lug, the 5 lug, and shares one of the same lugs. These are all kind of different lengths, which is probably not great. So let's just measure backing plate to backing plate. We're pretty much 53 inches. This is going to be a little more difficult. Let's just go with 2 3/4 plus 53. It's 53 plus 2 3/4 times 2. 58.5. We're gonna write that down because I'll forget. 58.5. That'll be wheel flange to wheel flange. Now then, what do we got for our fender tubs? That's one of the most important. We're currently at 45 inches. If we mini tub it, we could gain 4 inches, 2 inches both sides. Is that right? Maybe 2 1/4. So we're currently 45. We could get all the way up to 41, all the way down to 41, I guess. All right, let's go check out the other axle I have, and we will see if it will fit. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this come out of like a 4th gen F body, so like Camaro, Trans Am kind of deal. So here we got our 9-inch. We're gonna measure, we'll just measure caliper to caliper. We got, that's pretty much 53. And then we're gonna add, what is that, 1 1/4? So it's 55.5. 55.5 to the wheel mounting surface. So the Mustang is, what did I say? It's 40, no, it's 58.5 flange to flange. So that means this axle is actually 3 inches narrower, which might help us with some wheel offsets. I don't know. It's not gonna be an easy fix. That has single piston calipers. They kind of, I'm pretty sure these are like, these look like the ones I have on the Scout all the way around, which are 3/4 ton, like 73 to 87 square body style calipers. These brackets are really nice. They're, I don't know, they kind of look like cast, bolt in. It's definitely been narrowed. You can see where it's been cut, but it looks like, it looks nice. It's got this, I don't know if that's a parallel 4-link or like a ladder bar setup, but they're at an angle. This gives it away right here. Like that is normal, like track bar for a F-body Camaro. But also they typically have torque arms running up to the transmission off the center diff. So it could be either way. We really don't know. I thought this was 5 on 4.5. I just kind of measured it, and it looked, I mean, it measures like 5 on 4.5, but you got to measure the 5 lug like outside to outside, so it's 5 on 4 3/4. And I know that because I have these set of pistons and rotors off a 4th gen Camaro, different car. And they fit perfectly. So the Mustang's 5 on 4.5. Camaro's 5 on 4 3/4. Typical Chevy versus Ford. They can't be the same. I also know that because these rotors fit perfectly on this front clip out of my 2010 CTSV, and they are 5x120, which in American terms is 5 on 4 3/4. So I think I can make this work. I think the slightly narrow will help us. We'll be able to get kind of a good looking wheel in there, I think. It's already disc brake, which is nice. The downside is these don't have parking brakes on them. And it's a standard car, so we might want parking brakes. But then again, I don't have a parking brake on the Scout. But I'm pretty sure you could buy these with the parking brake in them. Not off a square body, but I think you can get a similar mounting one. Okay, so I put a line right here, right at the top. We need to see what gear ratio we've got. So I'm going to turn the pinion. I'm going to count this as like top. So if we turn it there, that's half a revolution. That's 1 revolution. So in theory, we get around somewhere around 3, we should start seeing that come around. It's 2.5. There's 3. There's 3.5, so that would be like a 350. So this might be like a, I don't know that it's like a 308, maybe a 323. I can't remember what. I think 323 is standard in GM, but this is a 9-inch, so I'm not real sure what that equates to, but it's somewhere 320, 330 most likely, which is, should probably be a pretty decent cruising gear for a 5-speed. I might be wrong on that. I have to do some research. I think, if I remember right, this is a spool. Yeah, because I can pretty much hold both sides and lock it down. I don't think it's a limited slip. I'm pretty sure it's a spool which connects both sides. Not ideal for street driving at all, but we will find a way to make it work. I guess we could get super creative because I have the factory 4th gen front hubs, drilled and slotted rotors, and the front calipers, front calipers. Like, we could try to retrofit those on the Mustang somehow. I could build like a fabricated spindle. I don't know, might be going a little too deep. But I don't know, we got a bunch of random parts. And I like taking junk and making it work, so. The real question is, what kind of suspension? Do we do a triangulated 4-link, really complicated in a unibody car, because there's nowhere to mount the upper links? Do we do a 3-link? I've seen several 3-links where they basically use that leaf spring hanger link bar on both sides, and then they do an upper one here that ties into that mount, but also some kind of bolt-in frame tube structure, and then either a Watts link or a panhard or track bar. I don't know. I don't really want to spend $4,000 or $5,000 buying one. I would be more enjoyable for me to build it, even if that takes some trial and error to get it right. I really don't want to mini tub it. I mean, it's a lot of work. This thing's got pretty decent undercoating. Like, I would rather, there's a company that makes a real nice set of steel fender flares. You can get them like 2 to 4 inches. Fit real nice and just kind of flare out. I've always loved a wide body, really a wide body 67 fastback, but way out of my price range, so a wide body 66 coupe wouldn't be too bad. I mean, the paint's not great, but I would rather wide body a little bit than mini tub it. Also keep the footprint and the stance a little wider, make it better for corners and autocross stuff. So, and back in present day, like with the 9-inch, I think I'm leaning towards 2 options. I either build a custom 3-link, but you can buy the kit, but it's like $6,000 or $7,000. I'm not gonna do all that. Not right now. I might build and design one, might do that at a later time. I might just put a factory set of leaf springs and a decent set of shocks, and we'll call it a day. Haven't fully decided there, but we do have a bunch of front end upgrades coming. I gotta figure out wheels and tires, things like that. Still quite a few parts to get, but we're gonna start moving in the right direction. That's the biggest key. Just get out there and do something a little bit here and there. This might be dragged out over several months. But for now, we're gonna dive in and start getting some of these old gaskets off this engine, and the new gaskets and new oil pan and all that stuff on. I didn't buy a rear main. I should probably buy a rear main. Rear main seal, that is, because do we want to put this back together without doing that? Probably not. I also didn't buy the new gasket for the front timing cover either. Well, I'm just not prepared. All right, well, I want to pull the front end off of this thing, and I guess I'm going to town to get some gaskets. Never even once crossed my mind. That's absolutely crazy. I know better than that. If you're watching this at home, buy everything. Wow, it's amazing what you can do when you got the right equipment. And basically, I'm an idiot, and I should have seen that coming. Basically, what happened is this one was just barely too big, and I was just forcing itself against itself. I've done this enough times, it's been years, but I've done this enough times to know if it ain't going super easy, there's gotta be something wrong. And I don't mean like every job should go easy, but the balancer should be fairly easy to get off. Water jackets. That's always a good sign. Now, previous owner told me it's got a cam in there. Question is, do we believe him? I'm not sure that I do. It's definitely a factory Ford timing gear, which is fine. We're not gonna mess with it. I don't want to take the gear off. I don't want to have to loosen all the rockers. I'm just gonna go get some gasket material and a rear main seal, and we'll be back in business. Well, I went to town, I got the gaskets, and when I come back, I honestly just wanted to crank the stereo up and just get some work done. So I didn't turn the camera on. So what we have is a finished, dressed out engine. New water pump, all new gaskets here. Put a new rear main seal in. We've got a 7-quart Canton Road Race oil pan, front sump. I have to have front sump to fit in the 66. And because I want to do some autocross style events with this car in the future, the factory pan has 0 baffles. Now, I could have went in and welded baffles and done all that, but I decided to spend a little bit of money, buy a 1 quart larger capacity pan, get some internal baffling designed for side to side movement. Still got to figure out some of the front accessories, but we can do that in the car. I've got the intake on it. I've got the factory 66 valve covers just sitting here for now. I'm gonna try to find some better looking ones maybe, I don't know. I've got a newer Mallory distributor, electronic, but I've got to verify that this does not need an ignition box, and also I don't have a cap for it. So in the meantime, I've got this factory one put in here, which does have a Pertronix flamethrower conversion, but I'm not a big fan of those, so it's really just in there for now. I've got it stabbed at TDC, but I'll be pulling it at some point to prime the oil system. I've got to get new bolts for the motor mounts. These Fox Body bolts have a real wide flange on them, and they hit the bend of the 66 mounts. So I got to go to the hardware store at some point and get some new bolts for that. I also don't have the brackets that mount to this frame that then mount to the motor mount. So I've got to order a set of those. More pieces, and then we can put it in the car on the next video. Also been putting in subframe connectors. Nothing real special there, it's kind of boring, just a little bit of welding. I gotta put the other side in, but we'll get that done, and then I'm gonna build some kind of cross X brace to stiffen everything up probably. But that's gonna be it for today. for this video. I haven't really put any of these videos together, so this might end up being a 1 or 2 part deal. Anyways, thanks for stopping by the shop and hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the progress on the new project. My one and only Ford. So yeah, we'll see y'all next time.